Hello. Oh my god. It's very hot in here. It's been almost like right now, like very hot. Yeah. It's morning at almost like 8 a.m. But still, the sun is kind of like a shining like hot. Literally hot. Okay. So last night I slept at. Okay, first of all, this is my artifact episode number 4021. Today's date is 26. No, 25 April 2026, and it's been almost like a morning at 8:03 a.m. Last night I slept at 3 a.m. Okay, why? I was actually exporting my artifact. Still there are 8 files are still remaining. uh, I thought that I will started encoding probably at 3 a.m. I thought that I will kind of like export all my artifact till midnight, like, but it took almost like a 3 a.m. and still after I kind of like 3 a.m. I haven't really done, and yeah, whatever. It's not really that bad, by the way, but today's time is actually gone now. Like, I thought that whatever it should supposed to be happen yesterday, it should supposed to be like artifact should supposed to be done till the end of yesterday, but today I have to kind of like something do the work. There are some sort of work is actually remaining. I'm kind of like a fumbling right now. I don't know why. uh all right, should we jump to the question? Just go jump to the question. Okay, question is, how will you force user to think before posting? Okay, first of all, what exactly is this question and why am I asking this question to myself? I wanted to build a app called My Artifact app. Now, what exactly is this app? It's a kind of like a something like a writing a diary every single day. You wrote the diary every single day. When you write the diary, there are a lot of constraint that you cannot able to be write that much spelling mistake. The effort it required for writing is too much than thinking. So I thought that what if I could change the process from writing to recording? So what if people would supposed to be record their diary? I call them as an artifact, like things that you are kind of like listening right now is My Artifact episode number 4021. I've been doing this thing for almost like 11 years, and because of this recording artifact self-reflection process, it had so much amount of value inside of me, and the whatever the person that I am right now, and whatever the person that I will become in the future, all of these actually happen is because of the artifact. So yeah, it changed me, it changed my entire personality and things and that. I thought that because of this artifact adds so much amount of value inside of me, what if I could share this technicality with people? So I thought, let's make an app. So my app is a kind of like a something is this thing people are recording their artifact. Okay, yeah, audio recording their artifact. How is this actually happen? My app is a kind of like a YouTube app. Okay, yeah, in the YouTube platform you can upload your video, other people see your video. It's kind of like a same that you could record your artifact, other people listen your artifact. It's an audio based platform completely. But there is a one thing I'm providing: privacy. User will not gonna know other username, or user will not gonna know other user who is that particular user, nothing like that at all. Just a random username that you kind of like a pop-up, like my real name is Saurabh Authare, but my kind of like a assembly artifact handle would be kind of like a Jackson 43 or Prozac 1943. Okay, so this is kind of like a username that pop up, so that kind of like a somebody I am making sure that people will kind of like a feel kind of like a secured. They will feel that okay, this is not a kind of like a something that my identity will gonna reveal. But why are you kind of like a providing the privacy? Is because of that you might gonna record so many stupid shit that you don't want to attach your identity with it. That is true, by the way, because when I'm saying that you should supposed to be record your thoughts and things and that, our thoughts are really messy, our thoughts are really unstructured, our thoughts are really raw and unfiltered. And obviously when we are attaching our identity with our thoughts, it's kind of like a really wrong thing will gonna happen. Okay, yeah, because when I started recording my artifact, my previous artifact episode was so stupid and so, like, I don't know. Okay, like basically that's what I'm trying to tell you. And another thing is that because of I'm kind of like providing the privacy, user will kind of like feel that freedom to express. Okay, yeah, because no other platform is actually providing that, and my platform is actually providing that freedom of express. So in my platform there is no hierarchy, there is no this that person and this that person. No, in artifact there are just a kind of like a somebody soul who are kind of like sharing their thoughts and things and that without knowing who are they and that. But why do you think that will work? Because of that the world that we are living right now is like a far much more like a far much more kind of like some this thing that I don't know how to supposed to explain this thing. It's a kind of like a thing that we can connect with the world. I can talk to anybody with phone and internet and whatnot that I have. But because of those advantages, I cannot able to be talk anymore. I cannot able to be express anyone at all. Why is that? Because the world that we are living, we are constantly judging each other in so many ways and so many factor and things and that. Because every person that you are seeing is not a kind of like a particular person, a comparison, a judgmental, who is higher, who is lower, and things and that. We are living this world, and in the future it would be kind of like even more worse. So basically is this thing and because of this kind of like a self-centric world that we are living, we do not have any kind of like some opportunity to express ourselves. Even if I have girlfriend or boyfriend, still I cannot able to be express my thoughts. Why? Because of that there are so many factors actually responsible: time, money, work, career. We are mentally became so unstable because of the world that we are living, the constant comparison and things and that. We really required a kind of like a something that a kind of like a platform there we could supposed to be share our thoughts and things and that. So that's why this artifact is actually for that. Okay, now regarding about the question, this is my app, by the way. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is my app, and I wanted to develop this application. The problem is that how do I supposed to do that? Because I am not Android developer, I am not a coder, I am not a thing. But still I'm using coding, vibe coding, like Android agents, Android Studio agents, to kind of like building my application. I am trying to building. I'm getting a lot of errors, by the way. Okay, yeah. Yesterday I got such an error that just not goes away, just like, oh my god. Yeah. Still I'm trying. I will gonna make this app. Okay, yeah. I'm not really a Android developer, but I could make an app. It's not really that problem. I could make an app. But The one thing I'm unsure is that I can make an app, but the question is that I have to be asked to myself that is it right? Like basically, is this thing na ki recording this on the mobile phone on personal recording it would be okay. But what if we could make a platform like a social media platform and people will share their thoughts and things and that, and millions of people will kind of like listen them. It's kind of like so much responsibility I am taking. Okay, because I thought that privacy would be much more better to kind of like let them people express their thoughts, but people might gonna utilize for wrong purposes. Freedom, privacy is kind of like giving them people to talk toxic. That is true. So how do I supposed to be kind of like really manage that thing? So that's why this question is actually all about. By the way, how do I supposed to get this question? So I went to ChatGPT. I kind of like I said, this is my application, this and that and that. I wanted to know all the consequences I will gonna face when I build the app. Okay, yeah. What kind of like a problem that I will gonna face, or so that's why ChatGPT I kind of like I said suggest me almost like 100 question according to that. ChatGPT understand my context and suggest me almost like 100 question. This is one of those question. By the way, all those questions actually in the mobile phone, but while recording I can't do this fiddling thing, so that's why I wrote question in here. This is the question. By the way, this is the new book that I'm reading right now, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I have been reading this book for almost like a month, and I read like almost like a 200 pages still I read. Like it's like this is the first time I'm kind of like reading this much big book. Okay, yeah. There is no kind of like an image at all, just a text and text. Try to consume this much information, it's like a really difficult in this book because obviously this kind of like a very heavy book. So that's why I'm kind of like reading this book for almost like a 20 minute, that's it. Okay, yeah. And from last 2 days I haven't reread this book. Why? Because yesterday the kind of like episode happened, and then whatever, I don't want to talk about it. So yeah, the question is that how will I kind of like simply making sure that people should supposed to think before posting. Okay, now what's exactly posting? uh, Imagine a scenario that people will kind of like have frustrated day, like too much actually happened. They are kind of like very angry at somebody, their boss or their office or whatnot, and they kind of like started recording artifact. They are talking about this shit, that shit, that shit. Like when we are angry, we kind of like talk so much stupid stuff. Okay, yeah. Now imagine that stupid stuff will kind of like somebody publish. What will happen? Well, basically I thought that probably is this thing that I should supposed to be kind of like somebody control their toxic behavior and things and that, to let them pause, to let them think and that. But I've been recording artifact, okay, yeah, for almost like 11 year, and there is a couple of things that I wanted to express. Yeah, yes, sometime they became really frustrated, and we just there are so much thing. Okay, yeah. And when I hit the record, I my frustration is actually gone. Like basically what I do, okay, yeah, what I do is that I talk about that. I talk about the what exactly happened throughout my day and things. I let that go, let that frustration go. Because if I'm trying to prevent that frustration, then it's kind of like a pressure cooker. Okay, yeah. It has to be released. And my platform is meant for that. So basically it's this thing that if I'm kind of like letting them people to kind of like think before posting, it's it's not a kind of like a things that it's not a kind of like a wrong, like basically we are all humans. and we are allowed to make mistakes. My platform is meant for that. Yeah, you can, there is a lot of frustration and things and that you just blunt it out. Okay, because when you do that you feel little bit of lighter, you feel good in somehow. I know that artifact became toxic, but I have kind of like a judgmental system regarding about that. Like if your artifact is became toxic and things and that, obviously every artifact is actually judged by the judgmental system. Okay, what is actually judgmental system? Okay, so in my application, your artifact is actually judged by the 30-70 ratio. 30% is actually judged by the Adam. Adam is like algorithm Adam. Okay, yeah. 70% actually judged by the people. Okay, yeah. First of all, let's talk about 70%. The 70% of the people, like 70% is actually judged by the people. So people who are kind of like a listen your artifact. Okay, yeah, and they will kind of like a like or dislike whatever it is. Okay, yeah. And also how much people, like watch duration, like how much people listen your artifact, it kind of like a give them score regarding about how much like you get, how much dislike that you get, and how much watch duration that you have. Okay, from that thing it kind of like a simply determine that key, it kind of like a gives you score. Okay, 10 out of how much, like if you are kind of like a toxic recording and things and that, so people might gonna associate or resonate with this thing, because people might gonna think that key, okay, this is kind of like a normal everyone people life, and they are actually experiencing the same thing, so they might gonna like, so they might kind of like say so many people are liking that thing, so probably the score would be kind of like a 10 out of 7 or 8. But Adam knows the context. Adam knows that key, what exactly that you said. Adam understand the consequences of what will happen if that toxic artifact will kind of like a represent, like a resonate with a lot of people, and if it recommend to the more and more people, what will happen? Because most of people are actually talking about toxic. Toxic means what? Criticizing other people, kind of like a talking shit and things and that. I know my artifact is actually meant for that. People will kind of like a talk shit all the time. I do the same thing too. Okay, yeah, but I don't want that such a artifact will kind of like a recommend to the more and more people, because it's not. My artifact is meant for self growth, personal and things and that. Sometimes people kind of like a choose a wrong stuff, like a wrong thing, but that is not wrong thing, that is not wrong thing, that is a, that like sometimes people choose a kind of like a wrong thing that they consider is a right, but that is wrong, like basically criticizing the government and things and that. I know it is right, but my platform is not meant for that. Okay, yeah. So if you wanted to do criticize, go YouTube, go Twitter, do all those criticism over there. But in here, you can express, but it will not gonna recommend that much, because my platform is not meant for criticism. It's meant for improve ourselves, self development, growth, and things and that. Okay, yeah. So even if the people kind of like give the score 10 out of 8 or things and that, Adam gives the score 10 out of 3 or maybe 4. So combining that score, it kind of like give the average score, and from that average score, it depends on how much it kind of like a recommend to the people. Okay, yeah. So this is how it kind of like a simply judgment. Every artifact episode is actually judged by that. Okay, and I have to be I have to be honestly kind of like a tell this thing. This is very much essential, because when I'm allowing people to kind of like give them, when I'm kind of like giving them freedom to express everything that they want, they will utilize their freedom for very wrong purposes. Example, let's take a GTA 5. Okay, you play this game so that you could kind of like break the law, right? Because that game gives you kind of like a freedom to do anything at all. In reality, you do not steal car, you do not kind of like hit somebody. Okay, yeah, but in that game you can do that thing. Okay, yeah. So that is what kind of like a things, like when you get freedom, you can do, yeah, so much kind of like some stupid shit that you are not really proud of. Okay, yeah. My platform is allowed to them to record your artifact, but it will not gonna recommend to the more and more people. Okay, so this is what kind of like a things that happen. So basically is this thing, even if you are kind of like a frustrated and things and that, just record, yeah, because sometimes na it's really essential to blunt it out, because as I mentioned, we are living the life is so much like a frustration things and that. We do have responsibility, we do have a lot of questions in front of us. What happened? I don't really get the salary. How do I supposed to survive? Should I supposed to get married? I have the responsibility of my kids. I have to take a loan. I have to kind of like pay the debts. I have housing loan. I have car loan. I have whatnot. My health is not really good. Like there are so many kind of like things are actually kind of like simply fuck up our mind. Okay, yeah. So that's why this artifact is actually meant for that. And yes, you can express, you can blunt it out, because sometimes kind of like somebody blunt it out is very much essential. So yeah, it is that thing. Okay, yeah. So but still is this thing that if I'm gonna say that I will not kind of like add any kind of like some the thought process, what, how do I supposed to kind of like handle that situation if the user are kind of like feel really frustrated and things and that, how is that thing? Well, basically it's this thing, people will kind of like record the artifact. Okay, yeah, they frustrated and things, they record. Now what is actually happened that when they record that artifact, okay, yeah, even if they publish that artifact, I'm not really sure about this particular thing. Okay, yeah, but let me clarify. Okay, yeah, I create the feedback loop, not feedback loop or kind of like somebody is this thing, a companion loop or kind of like a feel good loop. I don't know how to supposed to explain this thing. It's a kind of like a thing that na ki Adam kind of like a simply convert audio into the text, and Adam read that text, and Adam try to understand you. If you are frustrated, Adam kind of like gives you notification that ki like calm yourself, or maybe something that take a breathe, or maybe kind of like something is this thing that ki last night was too much. Okay, yeah, be kind of like a kind of like a give something really that ki are you good or things and that. Okay, so that kind of like my app kind of like a feel like user are kind of like my app is kind of like a feel like that ki they are kind of like taking care of the people probably. But the problem is that na ki I don't know how to supposed to do that, because Adam only and only intervene when the artifact went live or went public. Okay, yeah, if you kind of like save that artifact into the draft, it might not gonna work, because Adam is actually working on the cloud. Okay, it not work on your app. Okay, yeah. And when the Adam get the information that you are get frustrated, then and only then that Adam feedback loop or Adam kind of like a things loop will be started, and kind of like a try to compensate you and things and that. That is only and only possible when you upload your artifact on public platform. Okay, yeah. uh, why am I not letting Adam to kind of like go into the draft? Because it's not really good. Because why is that thing? Adam is a very much powerful. Okay, yeah, it understand you, and there is a kind of like a privacy violation too. Like obviously if I'm not letting other user to kind of like let know your kind of like things, as well as Adam will have that thing. Adam will also kind of like try to not letting you know, or let his know that what is exactly your name or things and that. Okay, yeah, like it's a kind of like a thing that na ki Adam works on cloud. Okay, yeah, this is your phone, you record your artifact on your phone. Okay, yeah, when you hit public and when that artifact goes to the Adam goes to the public, then Adam try to kind of like simply do you something nice gesture and things and that as well, so that you will kind of like compensate and things and that. But if you save that artifact into a draft, it might not gonna work at all. Okay, yeah, that is true. And that's a kind of like a very much essential, because I don't want Adam should supposed to be control the mobile phone. Okay, yeah, that's it. So this is how I will try to figure it out. But still, saying about stuff and kind of like a doing about that stuff is kind of like a very much kind of like a, I don't know, is it possible? Like I will try to make it possible. Yeah, a kind of like a simply feedback loop or kind of like a things and that, but still. So this is how I kind of like a control the kind of like a something toxic behavior something. Yeah. This is then. Thank you.